This is James chapter 5, verse 7. Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it, until he receive the early latter rain. Verse 8. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I would like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. A double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth, blessings, and safety to the Lord's elect, man. All right. And, I'm out here in the wilderness, man, taking Elder Yashawama's counsel, man, coming out here for a reset, man. I had a down week. I was a little down in the spirit, man. We got a brother, two brothers actually, that's incarcerated in GMS Cleveland, man. And I was just talking to him on the phone, and a brother charged me up, man. I got with Akim yesterday. I got with brothers yesterday, man. Shalakia for crime, man. I got with brothers yesterday. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful, man. It charged me up. And then I'm walking, a brother called me, he charged me up, man. And as I'm sitting down, I'm talking to this chick on the phone, on video chat, and I was telling her about, establishing, a relationship with her father, and, I was, just pretty much, telling her about a video that, Apostle Gabar did. I was just telling her, a video I saw, but it was Elder Apostle Gabar that did the video, and he was talking about, reconnecting with your father, man. It was beautiful. And, out of the blue, this guy came up to me, and he gave me a pamphlet and said, the Lord love you. It was just, man, it was exhorting, man, Shalakia though, man. I'm just out here, for the reset, man, just trying to reset myself, man. But, hey, I opened up with, James 5 and 7, man. Hey, man, he coming. That's the title of this video, man. He coming. He coming, okay? And that he is talking about, Yahweh Shah, man. He coming. All right? And, I'm going to get Romans, 13 and 11. And it reads, and knowing the time, that now is a hot time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than what we believe. So whatever you got going on in your life, brothers, and the very few sisters that watch, hey, man, it's going to be short-lived, okay? Yahweh Shah is on his way back, man. That physician, he's on his way back. With healing's in his wing, man. With healing's in his wings, okay? So don't worry, man. We catching hell, brothers catching hell, with their woman, catching hell, at the job, catching hell, just, being around these damn, wicked niggas, man, heavy spirits, hey, man, Yahweh Shah is coming, man. He's coming, now is the time to, lock in like never before, man. And I'm speaking to myself, first and foremost, man. This lesson is really, I'm speaking to myself, man, and whoever else it may be beneficial for, man. But it says now is a hot time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Because Yahweh Shah, he's coming back to, bring destruction, okay, but also to deliver that small remnant. How you doing? All right, to deliver that small remnant, okay? And let me grab Matthew, the 10th chapter, all right? Because as the scriptures say, woe unto them that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for them, man? A lot of people desire the day of the Lord, the coming of the Lord, but, they don't know the form and fashion that he's coming in. And first and foremost, they desiring an Edomite with blonde hair and blue eyes to come back. not Yahweh Shai, man, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, which is a so-called black man. But this is Matthew 10:34, and it reads, "Think not that I come to send peace on earth." And these are the words of Yahweh Shai. It says, "Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword, man." All right, so Yahweh Shai is coming back for war. Okay? Yahweh Shai is coming to, bring a vengeance upon our enemy. All right? He's coming in the name of his father, Yahweh, man. All right? So, hey, man, hey, he's coming with the angels. Hey, 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Michael the Archangel. Hey, listen, man, it's about to be an all-out war, man. Okay? It's about to be an all-out war. All right? And also, matter of fact, let me get Revelations, the 1st chapter. Revelations 1:7. And it reads, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him." Those clouds are going into those so-called UFOs, man. Those chariots, man. Matter of fact, let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. All right. I'm so charged up right now, man. All right, this 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. I'm gonna start at the verse 3. It says, "And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong," and that man that waxed strong is going into Yahweh Shai, man. It says, "And behold, I beheld," and this is a vision that Ezra is seeing. It says, "And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven," man. All right, because when the Lord comes back, he's coming back with the angels, man. All right, and they show you those depictions on the movies, man, like Independence Day. All right, when you ask those producers or directors what inspired them to come up with these movies, they're going to tell you out of the scriptures. All right, so it says with the thousands of heaven. All right, and that's going into the so-called UFOs, man. "And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth felleth when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." And that's going into the military, man. Okay? The Lord is gathering them up, over there in the so-called Middle East, okay, for war, okay, and they're gonna turn their attention unto Yahweh Shai and the angels, man. And that's that movie Independence Day. All right, they're gonna try to subdue Yahweh Shai, man. All right, and it says, "Subdue the man that came out of the sea." All right, and he's not coming out of the literal ocean. That sea represents the heavens, man. Shemayim's the air, okay. And it says, "But I beheld, and lo, he had engraved himself a great mountain that flew upon it." And that great mountain is going into that so-called UFO. All right, that chariot, man. Hey, NASA unleashed a video, man, of a so-called UFO, man, that was bigger than the Earth, man. That's that fathership, man. All right, and it says, "But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and could not." So he couldn't see, the beginning of the so-called UFO or the end of it, man. That's how big it was, man. Okay, so this is going into the coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai, man, and the angels, man. All right, coming back to make a deliverance, man. All right, we're about to get delivered out of here, man. So let's go back to that Revelations 1:7. It said, "Behold, he cometh with clouds." You read Psalms 104:3. It tells you that the clouds are talking about the Lord's chariots. It says, "And every eye shall see him, even they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, amen." So the same spirits that were there or had something to do with Yahweh Shai being murdered. These are the same spirits that walk the earth today. You Romans, you Edomites, and you Jakes, man, that said, "Let his blood be upon us and our children." All right, so you're gonna have to face Yahweh Shah, man. Okay, you're gonna have to face him. Okay. Get another precept, man. There's a lot of precepts coming to mind right now. This is Isaiah 31 and 5. It says, as birds flying, all right, going into those chariots, those so-called UFOs, all right, they're coming back in formation, man, you know, flying like birds, man, right? It says, as birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending, also he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it, man. So Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to deliver his elect, man. He's going to preserve his elect. He's going to deliver his elect, man. All right, the greatest deliverance is approaching. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 14. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Okay, see, that's the deliverance that we speak about now, man. Okay, you know, we talk about that deliverance, man. You know, it's associated with the Passover. You know, we speak about that deliverance. That was a great deliverance. Okay, and it says, but the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, man, which the land of the north is going into North America. Okay, there's about to be a great deliverance from America, man. Hey, when this bitch get hit with missiles, man, hey, how about Shemi Al-Shah, man, is going to beam up his elect women, Shalakia, but elect men, first and foremost, elect women and elect children, okay? It's going to be a small remnant, okay? But a mass majority of the Lord's sons and daughters are going to die, man, by these plagues and by that thermonuclear fire and that concentrated fire from the chariots, man, all right? And it says, and all from the lands whether he had driven them, all right? Because we were, according to the Deuteronomy 28th chapter, the curses, man, we were sold and pushed out throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, we got Israelites amongst those other nations. And it says, and I will bring them again into the land that I gave unto their fathers. So we're going to get that land back, Israel, man. The Lord has to, he has to cleanse that land by thermonuclear fire as well, okay? Because, you know, those Edomites, those small hats, Amalek, they have defiled that land, man. Okay? So, hey, man, how you doing, man? All right, so, hey, man, you know, he's coming, all right? So, hey, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to end giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Until next time, Shalom.